Hey, what's up, team? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. This video is on the hero swap. I'm going to be explaining it throughout the video, what it is, why it's helpful, and some ways that you can do it. And hopefully it'll help you out, because it's been helping me out, and I really like this mindset. So basically, let's talk about why it's important, all right? So certain situations in life call for certain approaches. In terms of games, let's go into the game world. If you're walking into a dungeon and you're in this hall, right, and it looks like it's full of traps, you probably want to be a rogue, right? I mean, like that seems like the best class for the situation. If you are in need of like controlling all of these different situations, these resources, and making quick decisions and stuff, you're probably going to want to be some commander or battle mage type class, right? And also if you're in this situation where you have to like just endure and take some damage without actually worrying about doing too much damage to the boss or the monster, then you're probably going to want to be like a healer or some guardian style, right? So there are these situations that call for certain classes. And the thing, this also works in real life too. If you're doing math, for example, you're not going to want to say out loud how you're going through the math and stuff. It's just going to cause problems. It's going to confuse things if you need to process it verbally. You could be in a really loud situation or something like that, right? So math would probably require you to use introverted thinking type like brain regions, the ones that are like in the middle of your neocortex that are used for like analysis and reason and kind of logic and stuff like that, and risk and reward, and kind of just making sense of things in a logic way, right? And so if you're trying to sound it out, you're going to have some problems. And also if, let's say you are doing a realistic painting, right? You're tasked with doing this epic realistic painting. My hair's sticking up. You're going to probably want to use extroverted sensing so you can actually see what the thing is and replicate it to its best, right? If you use extroverted intuition, you're going to end up with like cats and rainbows and stuff shooting out of it, and it's not going to be realistic, right? It's going to be something completely different. So these situations, once again, call for a specific cognitive function or class. And that does not mean that you cannot get through it with another class. Like going back to that rogue situation, you like the one where you're in a dungeon hallway, right? It's full of traps. You could get through it by stepping on a trap, healing yourself, stepping on another trap, healing yourself, and like taking it slow through, or a guardian, like putting your shield up and just kind of like tiptoeing through. There are ways to get past. That's all I'm saying. And for the commander or the battle mage one, where you really need to like logically process the situation and order people on what to do and how to do it the most efficiently and use those limited resources or whatever and kind of make quick action, you're probably not going to want to be a healer. You're not going to want to be a rogue who does not naturally order people around and command them and, that kind of stuff. They're going to be in the back and be like, I want to just kind of see where things are going. Wait in the shadows before I attack, right? So it's going to be a struggle for them. All right, so I could go on and on with this, but let's talk about a little bit more groundedness, like what it really is. And what I'm talking about here is your understanding of your cognitive functions and the position that they are within your cognitive function stack. I'm not going to explain it too much throughout this video because that's been covered in many other videos, but just as a quick little touch on it, we all have, human beings have 8 cognitive functions that we use, and they have different positions within ourself, right? So when we are feeling heroic and like this is who I am, this is my true identity, we're probably using our dominant function, and probably with the auxiliary function, the companion in there too. When we're trying to like support somebody, that's usually the one that comes out. When we're feeling like, we want to put somebody in a little trap and confuse them and get what we want, and we're kind of like bossy and childish, like that's going to be either our tertiary function or the seventh function, usually. So they come out in all these different ways, right? But if you know your cognitive functions, then you probably know where you struggle with some things. And if you think enough about your situations, you're going to realize that like when you are going to approach a situation that is difficult for you, then you could possibly think about it in another way, right? Like, I don't want to attack everything with introverted feeling and just kind of try to put shields up and heal and kind of protect myself, and it's not good. It's not going to get through every situation. It's not going to help me with math, that's for sure. And so realizing that when you step into that dungeon, into that hallway, and you see the traps, or you just like, you put your foot down and you hear the trap tick, this is a way of swapping heroes a little bit and just being like, this is a bad situation for this approach, and kind of like zapping out and bringing in a new hero. I've been playing a lot of, Iron Marines. It's an iOS game. It's really good, by Ironhide Studio. It's kind of, it's like a tower defense mixed with RTS StarCraft. And I get a lot of inspiration from XCOM, and so this, you can kind of feel that within this, like setting up your squad before you get into the encounter that's going to, make or break you. You got to have the right team. You don't want to go out there with all snipers or all heavy troopers when you need some other different heroes. So what I'm saying again, really, is that it's just a way of having a little bit more awareness of yourself, and when you're putting yourself into a situation that's going to be difficult with the same approach that you naturally do. Or you just constantly go through a bad situation and you're not realizing that, like, I need to not use this hero, I need to use a different hero. That would make way more sense. And it's not easy. And we're definitely not going to have the same skill as our normal natural functions. Like me using introverted intuition or introverted thinking or extroverted sensing as an INFP is going to be difficult, but just having the awareness of that is going to be helpful, right? And then I can try to play as if I am that character, just for shits and giggles and just for ways of kind of testing myself and trying to level up those weaker heroes, swapping into another hero, my alt, etc. So let's talk about how you can do that, because that's important, right? That's kind of why we're all here, is because we want these practical tips, and it's something that's difficult for me to give as an intuitive, but I'm working on it. All right, so first, starting out, just building basic awareness and just a mindfulness of yourself and the things that trigger difficult situations for you is going to be helpful. And you're only really going to do that if you just keep studying the cognitive functions and your stack and digging in, researching more and more and more, and taking notes on yourself. So in order to build that awareness, something that's helped me is to set up random timers throughout the day as like a flow checker. So it just goes off at like maybe 10 times throughout the day, randomly on my phone. You can get a bunch of apps for it. And it's at that time, I'm going to think about, what am I doing right now? How am I feeling right now? Am I struggling with this, or am I doing well with this? And that'll come out throughout the day, and you'll get some clean, kind of clear and pure data of what you're doing and how that's making you feel. Are you struggling, or are you doing well with it? And through tailoring your actions better, you're going to be able to put yourself into better situations that create more flow and make your life happier. And you're also going to have that awareness of when things are not working well, and then swapping in those other characters, or at least just playing as if you have extroverted intuition or extroverted thinking as like one of your main abilities, and just seeing what happens. Because most of the things in life you're not gonna die from if you just try a different approach, right? We all take stuff way too seriously, myself included. So it's pretty important. Just throwing that out there. As another like kind of variation on the flow tracker thing that you can do is to set up different reminders throughout the day. I've talked about this in another video, that just call out the different cognitive functions in your function stack just so that you think about it. Just so that you're like, right now in this situation, what function am I using, and should I be using that? And just having slowly building awareness to it, about it, you're going to improve on some things. And one more thing, when you walk into a bad situation, or somebody's kind of triggering you a little bit, you step on that mine or that trap and trigger it. Just think about like, boom, what would a cleric do in this situation? What would a commander do in this situation, or a battle mage? What would a gunslinger do right now? Would they approach it the same way? Probably not. So would it help if I did it in a different way? Then maybe, maybe not. It's just building awareness and awareness and awareness. Like I said, right? Super important. And there isn't just like one trick that you can always do, but having random reminders and little things that you do that just trigger that break really seem to help me anyway. So what I want you to do right now, and I think this is very helpful, is to go back in time, retrospectively, think like, when I was fighting with my girlfriend about this, what function was I trying to get through the situation with? And was it working? Was that the one that was supposed to be in that situation? Was that what was called for in this situation? Or am I trying to bring the wrong class, the wrong hero to the fight, right? If the beast resists fire, I don't want to constantly bombard it with fireballs. It's just going to heal it. It's going to make it worse, right? So yeah, keep that in mind and think about it retrospectively. And I would like to know down below if you have any of those instances where you just tried to like power through something that you shouldn't have. Like you're just constantly healing and healing and healing when really you need to be taking some action, or you're gonna wake up 20 years in the future alone and having done nothing with your life. All right, so there are a lot of different elements in there, but I do want to know because whatever you say is probably going to be helpful for somebody else. I say this quite often too. All right, I think that's it. I have a little picture of a cloud over here. I don't remember what it's for. It was going to remind me of something. It didn't. It reminded me of clouds and me jumping and playing in clouds. Anyway, keep up the lifelong questing. Good luck, have fun. Peace.